Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourselves in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Northeast Kansas. This evening's scene will be taking place at Triori's stately home, the Fairbreeze Manor, pictured on screen, as he has invited his now fellow knight. My God, there's finally another one. Praise be Osmosis. In order to join him for tea and contemplation. So we will begin as she arrives at his house.
Right. Karina seems vastly more comfortable hitting up another she than any member of the Commoner Kits, since they are vastly different. Luckily, the she are something that have not changed as much. She will knock on the door, and she'll just wait.
This young lady will push open the door and blink her violet red eyes at you before saying, sorry, what's your character's name again, Tim?
Karina Stormfury.
Good afternoon, Miss Stormfury.
Good afternoon.
The master is expecting you. Would you care to come inside?
Of course.
May I take your coat?
Karina will take off her coat and hand it to Elizabeth.
Elizabeth will put it up on the coat rack before leads her through the house itself. The house is built in a very grand old style, so there are very large windows that stream light in on old portraiture. Everything has the smell of age. The wood itself is varnished, but you can still see telltale signs of just how aged it is. As she wends you through the house until you come upon a pair of large black wooden doors. By the way, as you come close to these wooden doors, particularly because of your Arcadian she nature, there is something palpably unpleasant about these doors, almost as if it's forcing you backwards. Out of character, it is because the metal riveting and the crisscrossing metal of these old medieval style doors is made from cold iron.
Oh, fun! Yeah, no, Karina's going to stop, and she's going to back up. Because out of character, Karina has a certain fun flaw in her sheet.
Someone has iron allergy, don't they?
Yep.
I thought all she had that.
No, this is a flaw that makes that worse.
Oh, right.
She has the lowest point version, which means it just hurts to be around it.
Elizabeth will blink her crimson eyes before saying, I apologize, a security protocol. One moment. She will open the doors wide open, so that the doors themselves are about 7 or 8 feet apart, so there is now plenty of space for you to scooch through without you being too close to them.
She will walk through.
I'm assuming it's a very quick walk.
She's keeping her eyes on Elizabeth the whole time to make sure she doesn't do anything sus with those cold iron doors.
She doesn't. She'll just close them behind you. You find yourself in Triori's vast library. There are books that extend literally up to the ceiling, and there are at least 2 floors that you can see, some turning and veering off in different directions. It's literally like a cavern, a catacomb of books. Most of them look old. Most of them are entirely covered in vellum rather than ordinary leather. The covers and the text upon them is in many different languages, so much so that it's almost difficult for you to understand. Well, you can barely understand any of them unless you can speak multiple languages.
She can only speak English, that is it.
Okay. Elizabeth will kind of lead you through the bookshelves until you come across a big old-fashioned desk, made of a black mahogany-like wood, clearly quite expensive and carved with crests and runes. And seated behind the desk, sipping on a porcelain cup of tea, Triori is sitting. Mixie is also there. What is Mixie doing in the grand old library?
Mixie would be sat on one of the... What is this? yeah, Mixie would be sat on one of the chairs on a desk with her laptop, probably connected to the a power cord or something like that. And she would be working on the story that Troyori asked her to do. I mean, she'd already started on it as soon as she got back home. But when Troyori invited her over here, she decided just to continue with it, because just to make sure that it's like really, really good. She's basically just weaving a tale of dramatic language, right-wing dogma, and bad poetry into a tapestry of compelling rhetoric worthy of a Shakespeare novel.
To be fair, I will point out that most fairy tales, if you actually read them, the white man sitting on top ruling everything, it is entirely right-wing.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that. I mean, have you seen South Africa lately? But in a way, just to keep the subject on matter of topic. Yeah, she's just tapping away, changing things here and there. Occasionally, she might, she might just look at her phone just to check to see if anyone's messenger calling her. Just in case that her boss, asks any questions, or if anything, interesting has happened on the news. So someone got annoyed and started like screaming in a public park, for example.
By the way, as you enter the kind of clearing of it's almost like an oval island amidst the bookshelves. A large I'm trying to think of the word. There's a specific name for a cat that is orange, and I can't remember what it's called.
Ginger?
Oh yes, a large ginger tabby cat will basically start to fuss at your leg, Tim, kind of, preening against you.
Okay, and what was it again?
A large ginger tabby cat.
If the cat is okay with it, Karina will kneel down and pet the cat.
The cat seems quite happy to be pet.
Okay.
Makes it just looks at the cat being pet and just gives it just kind of a It's like trying to make it completely and utterly obvious, though failing obviously, that she would prefer to have been the first cat-like creature in the immediate vicinity that was petted, but that's what it is.
Karina will look over to Mixie, who obviously has an issue with this, and she will kind of just wave her over.
Mr. Troyori, sorry, Sir Troyori, just one moment. I just need to check this out.
And she gets up with her seat and heads over towards Karina.
Who will also...
There again.
Hello. And she will pet Mixie.
Mixie purrs a little bit.
Thank you.
And she goes back to the desk to continue working on the story.
Troyori, for his part, is sitting at his desk, and he's got a map in front of him. It's written, it's drawn in an old style, but it's clearly a map of Kansas, as he's marking on the map in various different sigils. Basically, he's got like little X's and things written beside them and such. Before he looks up and he says, welcome, Lady Stormfury, to my humble home. I do hope Percival is not bothering.
No, not at all.
The cat will kind of pad away, as cats are wont to do. May we offer you some refreshments?
No, thank you. I'm fairly all right, though I appreciate the offer.
He nods and says, "You are my guest beneath my roof. We tend to take that rather seriously."
She nods.
May I at least offer you a chair?
Very well.
There are kind of Mixie is currently occupying one. There are at least two other large kind of leather, comfortable armchair style chairs that each have a small table beside them and a reading lamp.
All right.
So,
And we'll go ahead, bro.
no, he was just saying, so, as I've said, I believe that it was best that we get to know one another in a more private setting.
I certainly find it to be a good idea considering Karina seems to be looking for the word hustle and bustle of the city greater.
I have no doubt, he will say as he places his pen down beside his map and blows on the ink in order to set it. Based upon your reaction when we first met, I have no doubt commoners have been speaking of me.
Yes, but commoners speak of everyone.
They do not seem to understand that we exist for their protection. However, they still choose to curse us occasionally. But these things happen.
Mixer just smiles as Shia looks over towards Troy, still tapping away.
Yes. However, these things, as I say, do happen. You are recently arrived from Arcade, you say.
I believe so, yes.
Unfortunately, when the time came for me to be offered the chance, I felt that humanity required me more than it does. I felt humanity required me more here, able to take succor in Arcadia personally.
I am sorry you have been met with disappointment then.
Humanity, though humanity has walked down a banal path, they still enable us to see glimpses of wonderment with what they deign themselves to create. There is still the spark of the dreaming in the world, and that is to be protected.
That is true.
Take Miss Mixie there, for example, he will say with a casual gesture.
And Mixie's ears perks up upon her name being mentioned.
What?
I'm sure that you would agree that, for example, this internet is a creation that is inspired. It itself inspires others. So, in a way, it is a tool of the dreaming.
Oh yeah, totally. You know, it's basically kind of like, you know, an extension of, you know, loads of kind of like you know when you had like, you know, circles of like riders or anything like that? It basically gave that to a much wider like you know, conglomerate. And it also gave like a lot of people, you know, reason to, you know, want to communicate with people, you know, especially if they were like from foreign countries, or, you know, being able to learn as a learning resource. And you can also use it to, you know, just like, you know, just create like funny pictures and like send them to your friends and go haha. And that's kind of how, that's kind of like how memes work. And yeah.
Very casually, he sips his tea. 90% of that went over his head, but fuck if he's letting anyone know.
Same.
I am curious, however, if you have sworn yourself in service now to Baron Erich or not.
I have sworn myself to no one yet.
He is an interesting man, the Baron. Most
Yeah, he is.
interesting.
Yeah, I think he's pretty cool.
I may be paraphrasing you, but I believe your words were shining example of his station.
Yes. She is paraphrasing me, Miss Mixing.
Oh, sorry. But still.
At this point, just a second. At this point, Elizabeth, from behind you, very quietly, will put down on Mixie's table a large glass of milk and a cookie.
Oh, thank you. And she'll take one of the cookies and she'll take the cookie and start nibbling on it. Ears fluffling, excitedly.
It's still warm from the oven. As Elizabeth will say, we live in a bargain household, madam. Always fresh is here. Anyway. But Traori will say, the Baron is a puka in all the, and he will look at the other she with a very kind of blasé face, and he will say, the Baron is a puka, and all that entails.
At the very least, I can respect someone that stays true to themselves, even with their title. More so than someone who pretends to be us the second they have any semblance of authority.
There is wisdom in that statement. But yes, there are also the other barons in the region who are also always searching for new knights. If you would wish to serve one of your own, one of our own kind, as it were.
That is my plan, at least for the moment. I can appreciate how things are different now, however. I believe that some bit of familiarity is a good thing.
We are the she. Though time may pass, we are the dreams of the noblest of human endeavors, that which they aspire, those who sit upon thrones and wear the crowns. It is very seldom that we change.
That is why, when we do, it is a big deal. It's something noteworthy.
I'm inclined to agree. He will place his teacup down on the saucer and place it on the desk. As I am currently in the process of a census, would you mind if I ask you a somewhat personal question?
I am open to it.
I am merely curious if you currently possess holdings in Kansas.
Oh, so you said holdings in Kansas?
Yes, as in a freehold in Kansas.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah, Karina will. She'll be honest on it. She'll say, no, not at the moment.
I understand. You can see he writes something without looking down. Just scribbles a note in a piece of on a piece of paper, and he says, "The Baron has made it clear that I am to investigate the possibility of finding lost freeholds and such in order so that they may be distributed to the most worthy." He kind of leaves that hanging.
She will say, no, wait a minute. She's not house I learned it. This is what she'll say instead. You're forgetting I'm not playing and I learn it. So
Why? What would you have said if you were playing an Iluna?
if it was an I learned it, I would have danced around the subject a lot and been like, ah, yes. But no, it's the more direct character. She will say, I am very interested in pulling my weight, as it were. Even if such an endeavor does not end in freehold for myself, I am inclined to want to assist you.
I see. Currently, he will flick through his notes with one hand on the table until he draws the one he needs, and his eyes flick over it. I'm currently in the process of igniting a bale fire in a lost mine that was originally a nightmare realm before it was reconnected to the dreaming. The dreaming itself created a trod to its heart, but I believe it will be an excellent new freehold, and I'm currently in the process of igniting the bale fire there. If you seek to aid in this endeavor, it will no doubt be looked favorably upon, for the creation of a new bastion in the dreaming is always seen as a noble endeavor.
She will nod, and she'll ask, how far have you gone into the freehold's creation?
He will casually blink, and Evan needs to look up rules for something. Give me a second.
Do you need to know how freeholds are made?
I have a rough idea how it happens. I actually just need to, because they've changed it under C20, so give me just a second. Because he's at a certain step in the process, or rather the dreaming has automatically catapulted him to a certain step in the process. Freehold creation. He is... He is currently, drumroll please, at the... he's currently at step 3, the balefire.
Okay, so he's just said, like he's made the fire itself. He has the place. The wellspring's good. I think all that's needed at this point is the investment of the personal glamour.
He's still making the balefire at this moment in time. He has to yet decide if he's going to use a pre-existing freehold in order to ignite the balefire, or if he's going to try and ignite it without using a pre-existing freehold. Basically,
Okay,
that's where he's currently at.
Is that what he'll explain?
Yes.
Okay, she'll say, if I can offer at least my opinion on the subject. I believe that you and, if I'm accepted, us, we will be seen more favorably if we oversee every aspect of it ourselves without needing to rely upon a baron or another freeholder.
He will say, I possess the ability to light the balefire from my own freehold. A matter of safely conducting the fire through the dreaming or the great world. As if it is snuffed out, my own holdings will be forever diminished. Sorry, I should have mentioned this. Tim, you're currently standing in a freehold. His
Oh,
house
fun.
is a freehold.
Okay. She will respond with, "Correct me if I am wrong, Sir Triori. I wish not to disrespect a member of Ilonid by assuming that I know more than them. However, it was always my understanding that the balefire diminishing was temporary until the new freeholds
It-
can flourish."
It is. However, the dreaming has been turbulent of late, and if the balefire itself is lost in transit, the new freehold cannot be completed, and thus it is the old freehold remains diminished.
She'll nod. Say, "So if you were to do something along those lines, you would require individuals to keep the balefire safe."
Yes. I have also yet to decide if we will use my own freehold or spark it from a much larger, more powerful balefire. Possibly the one owned by my squire, John Visconti. He controls the new changeling market, after all, and it is rather a large and powerful freehold. But I have yet to determine what strength of balefire this mining complex itself could safely hold. There are many questions. I am currently researching the answers.
She'll nod.
Needless to say, he will say, leaning back in his chair and kind of looking at Mixie, one assumes we will be able to give the goblins in the mine a better existence, if nothing else.
Yeah, I'm putting that like details into the story, by the way.
Good.
Because you know, I think they were kind of working under some like really adverse conditions there, as I recall. I mean, I'm not quite sure if it was kind of like result of like the nightmare realm, but you know, it's not exactly. It doesn't exactly like show you know the previous administration was like really the best one for them. You know.
You're not incorrect. They seem to speak about their leader with some degree of fear. I shall have to go and have a conversation with him about how to manage his employees.
Yeah, they
And the
have.
fact that
Yeah. I mean, they do have kind of like thing. Well, they do have things called trade unions now.
But needless to say, in the event the mine can be secured and made safe as a freehold, it will be a valuable source of chimerical materials.
Mm-hmm.
That is my current ambition, anyway. Also, goblins are generally quite good with their hands, so it is they might be able to help us in the crafting of various different items and objets d'art that would be desirable.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies, he will say, looking at the other she, if we are boring you.
"No, not boredom.
It
You
was
are
a
not speaking things such as football." She'll roll her eyes.
yeah, sure in football. You you just take a ball and you kick it, and it goes wee. But it's not as cool as
Yes.
It's not as cool as baseball, though.
What? Where you hit a ball and it goes wee at much higher velocity?
Yes.
I think so.
But you can also throw the ball as well, depending on which side you're playing on.
So, I am led to understand from our previous meeting that you have met our conundrum in the form of Miss Lucy.
I have met her, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to what your thoughts were on the topic.
She is a puka. Puka say many things. She is also a child. At least, well, the puka inhabits the body of a child.
I sometimes worry that she's always out on her own, it seems. And if she starts talking to people, they could get arrested.
She apparently spent. The reason I find her unnerving is because not only does she claim to have had her chrysalis in the dreaming, but she also claims that she spent years of her life within and has friends therein. My friend and longtime companion Olaf the Troll believed that she was a goblin or a shape changer, that she had come to sow conflict, and that her friends were great nightmares from the outermost realms of the dreaming. But we shall have to see.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? What am I talking about?
I mean, the scary things from the deep outer dreaming.
Have you ever met a true nightmare, Mister?
No, but I did come into contact with Elizabeth Warren once.
He'll blink.
That was scary.
Out of character. Who the fuck's Elizabeth Warren?
I'll tell you after the hangout, but basically, yeah, but well, if Triary doesn't pay attention to the kind of things that Mixie's into, then that's completely fine.
Okay, he'll blink. And not
it's a funny story.
Allow me to phrase it like this: the most common fear, the most everyday terrors, falling, the dark, spiders, things that grip your heart whenever you embrace or see them or come into contact with them. Heights. Not seeing tomorrow. The fear of death. All of these things are very powerful resonances in the dream. And powerful nightmares that can never be overcome because they are ingrained in the nature of the human condition. Do you understand me?
Yes,
Not really, but go on.
He will say, the puka claims that she had her chrysalis within the boundaries of the dreaming itself, and she claims this honestly. I'm aware of the puka's inability to tell the truth, however, I myself made sure to tell if she was telling the truth, and indeed she was. So, either she is mistaken in her belief, though her belief is honest, or she is very dangerous because she is something that not even I, with all of my years and understanding, can comprehend.
Ugh. Well, she'll have to investigate that at some point. But not right now.
Yeah.
I've got the rest of the story to finish.
Yes. She also seems to be incredibly anxious to re-enter the dreaming. Despite her young years, she wishes to be taken on expeditions into the deepest realms of dreaming in order to make certain of various things.
Yeah, and she kind of went off on her own as well when we were going to, when we were down in the, down in the mine, like fighting, just like getting into, fights with those like explodey things.
Tim, can I ask you a changeling lore question?
Go ahead.
What powers do knights actually have?
It depends entirely upon the barony.
Like, for example, if Triori was to say write a writ that would forbid Lucy from going into the dreaming, is that something within the scope of his power to do?
I would have to
Not
say,
really.
I would have to say
That-
no for a night.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a baronet up thing.
Okay, cool.
Like, although Karina's response to that is going to be, I personally don't find particularly odd that child wishes to seek adventure.
It is not to seek adventure. It is to seek these friends of hers.
Yes, she has told me about her friends. I know that I have spoken of, at the very least, attempting to search for her mother.
At the very least, what, sorry?
At the very least, I have expressed my desire to search for her mother.
Her mother. That is something she has not discussed.
No.
The way that I see it, if a parent is Fae, and at the very least she has said that she is. And this is me simply taking faith that Puka would not lie about something that important. And that means that there's a Fae somewhere in the dreaming that needs to be brought back here.
You believe so?
In this new world of ours, every life is precious. At least every Fae life is.
Well, it would seem. It would seem as though you have a quest.
Yes, that is how it looks.
Do you intend to take the child with you into the dreaming?
I am unsure of that. She does present inherent risk, however. She should be the one that sees her mother again. Or her mother's corpse.
I would suggest, if this were me, that she wait until you bring the mother back. However, that is only if I may give counsel.
She'll nod. And that's not like a dismissive, like, she nod. That's like, she heard that, and she's thinking on that.
Until we can identify what it is that Lucy represents, if anything, then I believe that keeping her monitored is key. And unfortunately, her Satyr Guardian is incompetent.
Ooh, out of character. I didn't catch that last part. Unfortunately, her Satyr Guardian is... Did he say incompetent?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I just want to make sure. Karina will look, and she will say, how so?
This is the same individual who thought it would be an excellent idea whilst we traversed a nightmare realm, where glamour had soaked into the very walls, permeated every stone, and was about to explode, possibly ripping the dreaming into shreds in the local area. Hang on, 1 second.
Oh,
That's
There was
yeah, it's a good sign. You should probably turn off your phone when you're doing scenes.
yeah. It's all good.
That's what I do anyway.
So to fill in the air, Karina will look to Mixie and ask, "Tell me, what is your opinion on this?"
I'm not too sure. I will say this though. When we went down into the Goblin Mine, um, they didn't really do that much, as I recall, anyway. And I'm actually like mention them in the story because I don't want to make it like seem like really. I mean, when you're trying to write a story, you got to keep a proper narrative. But anyway, basically, what I was thinking, if well, I remember hearing this story like once. I mean, this is like kind of like whole internet stuff, but I remember hearing this story about this thing called like the centipede, and basically what it was is it was kind of like this kind of like nightmare or something like that. It was kind of like this. I'm not quite sure what it was. Maybe it might have been a she, or maybe it might have been a she of that what used to be a she, but then it kind of like turned into something different. But yeah, basically what they would do is that they take like the souls of children and kind of like create kind of like a daisy chain of them, and it would like they'd hook them up onto like a like some sort of invisible rope type thing, and they just walk about with it, and everyone would kind of like look at it and think, ooh, that's strange, because they would think that it was just like a school trip or something like that. But because obviously the dreaming and the the mists and everything like that, that kind of like just blurs it away. But what I was kind of thinking that maybe, well, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that that she's like one of these things, but
Sorry,
like,
my phone was a thing. To kind of complete his diatribe, he will say, whilst we were in the Goblin Mine, this idiot child thought it would be a good idea to leave the main grouping of us and venture off by themselves into a nightmare realm where there was so much glamour that it could have torn the local dreaming to pieces.
yeah, that's like the rule number one of Dungeons and Dragons: don't split the party.
Did he die?
He did not
No,
die,
no, it did not.
mostly because we were there to save them.
Hmm.
I just let you know I haven't included that in the story though, because I didn't think it was relevant.
What, us saving them and them running off?
Yeah, pretty much.
Excellent.
It takes away from like all the whole dramaticism and everyone being heroic and stuff.
That is fair. But yes, the satyr is as much a child as the puka, though he wears the body of an adult.
He's a man-child.
Yes. We were doing sincere and serious work to protect not only the dreaming, but at least 3 local barons. And what did they decide to do? Have a pleasant runaround with an enchanted mine filled with death and the possibilities of the ending of not only them, but their own immortal souls. Charm.
And so, what punishment did you levy upon them?
He will contemplate that for a moment. He will say, in all honesty, they did not directly disobey my orders. They merely wandered away. There was no cause for me to directly issue them a punishment. However, I am merely warning you that they are uncontrollable and will do as they see fit.
Solmab. To reply with. Then perhaps, if the satyr is, we can say, such a child, perhaps it is good that he also understands what is acceptable and what is not.
I feel as though it is unfortunate, but the commoners of the baronies, they have lost the concept of their place. I mean, you have met Madame Cece. You must have sensed at least that.
Karina will. Actually, Karina will say, I do not waste my time considering my opinions of the dishonest and the weak.
And then I would ask you, what is strength?
Strength is backing up what you say in action. Cece has opinions on the she, yet she does exactly nothing about it. I would respect her vastly more if she actively opposed me, rather than her passive aggressiveness.
So in essence, to you, words are weakness, action is strength.
Yes.
Then one must ponder how strong you believe yourself to be.
I will tell you when I find out.
At this point, Traore will stand up, and he will brush down his robes, and he will say, I am more than happy to match my strength with yours, and see a contest, perhaps.
I am interested. As she starts to stand up too.
Shall we adjourn outside in that case?
Oh, sorry, what was that?
He said, shall we adjourn outside then in that case?
She will say. And she will get a smile on her face. It's kind of that soft and kind of low key smile as she says, I find that acceptable.
Miss Mixing, would you like to join us? I sense that there might be something that might inspire you that is about to occur.
Yeah, sure. I'll take my laptop with me.
Excellent.
And she unplugs
For the
it and,
record-
takes it with her.
For the record, Zach, there's a scene currently happening at Traore's house. If you feel Willow would be there, you can feel free to join us.
Gotcha.
Okay.
By all
So-
means, continue.
So the trio will troop out to the patio. Basically, there's a large kind of patio area with a wall, not a wall, with almost a coaster of stone. You know the types. I mean, when you walk out of and Traore will flex his muscles before he kind of lets his he's wearing a heavy overrobe, and then there's much lighter underrobe. So he will unclasp and unbutton the overrobe before he slumps it off his shoulders, and lays it over the banisters or the railing of stone before he says, "And what weapon do you choose?"
She will look at what is presented to her. What is presented to her?
There's probably going to be there's probably going to be they're all metal, but they're all blunted metal. There'll probably be swords of various sizes, lengths, and weights. There'll be a short spear, a long spear. There'll be a shield. There'll be basically a plethora of training arms. As long as it's not too weird and archaic, it's probably there.
Okay. Yeah. Karina's gonna go basic then. She's gonna go with is there like a blunted axe?
Yeah, there's both two one-handed and one two-handed axe there.
Okay, she'll grab the one-handed axe and a shield.
Okay. Triori, for his part, will pick up a spear and will kind of twirl it around, flicking it from his hand, one hand to another, and whatever else have you. He will then take kind of a ready stance at one end of the patio as you stand at the other, and he will say, "Mixie, would you care to initiate?"
You know?
Sorry, did you say something specific other than?
I said, would you care to initiate?
What, you want me to actually start a fight with you?
No, as in declare us to begin.
Oh, okay. Ready, set, go.
Okay. Triori will... I was just going to say Triori will just kind of stand there in a kind of a ready position.
All right. Karina, as I have very much narrated, she acts like she is dispassionate when she very much isn't and is secretly super extra. So she would definitely go in and see how things go.
Okay. For those of you who may watch this scene, because we're not going to roll dice, myself and Tim have basically agreed narratively that we're just gonna we determine the differences in skills and whatever else. So how do you strike, basically?
Basically, what she is going to be trying to do is her first move is going to be, as she approaches, knock the spear away to eliminate the advantage of reach.
Okay. So what Triori does is he sees you coming and he kind of brings the spear down low, and so you bring the axes down to catch the spear. So you catch the spear at the very end. But what he does is he shifts his momentum under with the spear under and trips you up with the other half, with the haft of it.
Okay.
So it is now for you to decide what happens to you.
All right. So
narration fighting is best fighting.
Really nice. So she's going to get tripped up. She's not going to go prone, but she's definitely going to stumble and going to be trying to regain her footing. Put your shield in front of her as best you can, so that way, if he takes advantage of it, he at least has a slightly harder time.
Okay. This time, what he does is he once again he stands in a ready position and waits for you to come at him. He appears to be quite happy to just stand there.
Ooh, okay. She gets this. It actively makes a bit more sense for his, if he's going to have a weapon with reach, to be a bit more defensive. This time, what she is going to do is she is going to zip forward again, but this time she's going to do kind of a zigzag. She's not going to be knocking the spear away. She's basically going to see if she can't circle around and get a very quick flank on him. It does stand to mention that even though, Karina does seem particularly rusty with the weapon, she is not a slow fighter.
I'm going to assume you've got like Dex 3 or 4.
She's got Dex 4.
Yeah, so we're actually roughly the same speed.
Yeah, okay.
Speed. Yes, they are both very clearly Dex-orientated fighters. There's not a lot of power behind the blows. There's just a fuck lot of blows.
Exactly.
So as you zigzag in, what he'll do is he will basically he'll go to smack with the unarmored portion of the spear. He'll go to smack your hand with the axe in it, but that's just a feint. So when you move your hand back, your body will shift momentum to your other side. At which point the actual spear with the tip on it will flash up and crack you in the side of the head / neck.
Woo! Yeah, that one. Oh, yeah, no, you don't feel that. You don't feel that.
Yeah, so just you get the distinct impression if the blade had been bladed, that would have ended in a very sad place.
Yeah, she definitely understands that much.
He will say, "You show." Once again, keeping his voice that kind of interesting Sheehan passive that we appear to be rocking. You show great potential.
Thank you, sir. It seems that more practice with this is required.
He will relax his posture and will put the spear down into, just leaning against his shoulder before he says, "What you must understand is that strength of arm and action is important, and the strength of words are often overly dramatized. However, if you may speak with force, if you may convince those around you to follow, if you may show them the truth and the righteousness in every syllable you speak, then you have shown them the true power of words, not just the bluster that comes from the mouth of those who think they are right."
She does absorb this. Also, pops her jaw because that hurt a lot. Probably checks to make sure she still has all her teeth.
I think they're probably all still in there, yeah.
Yeah. Good hit, but it wasn't like crazy.
Yeah, no. He did not go full ham.
Yeah.
If he had gone full ham, there would have been some Dragon's Ire and some Autumn 2 in there, and it would have been like 1 billion dice of damage.
Oh god, no, yeah, no, we would have been dropping Winter and fucking Skycraft, all that bullshit.
Shit could have gotten biblical. Anyway.
Yeah.
You just see a large crater where Traori's house used to be. Just with the two doors with the true iron are the only things that are still stood up straight. Yeah. But he will sit kind of on the skirting rail of stone before he says, "I see, and I do not say this lightly, genuine and real potential in you, Lady Stormfury. You just need to understand what it is to walk a path in this world as changed as it has been by the march of time."
I understand. The past year has just been spent trying to learn the biggest things. Now that I'm here, I have to learn the small things.
Yes. Well, that is enough for now. Though I am here for a rematch whenever it is you feel as though you wish one.
She will smile again, and say, I am going to hold you to that.
And I have no doubt that at one point I will lose. As I have said, you strike me as a rising talent. We shall see what we shall see.
I think I will at least take some of that water if you have any.
By all means. You have no doubt heard that I poison my guests, however, that's simply not the case. Water is poured for you. It's brought out with ice, but not with any kind of citrus fruit.
That's all good. She don't care about that. No. Her jaw still hurts.
That's probably gonna bruise like a motherfucker.
Yeah, no, luckily she in a freehold. And that shit gonna heal. Yeah.
Traori will kind of, look up at Mixie and will say, I never did ask if anyone ever taught you how to fight, Miss Mixie.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Has anyone ever taught you?
No.
Would you like to learn?
Well, I'm already kind of doing some. Well, I know, and I've got claws, And
she holds up her little kitten claws.
But I'm also taking like a firearm safety course because the Republic isn't going to defend itself.
Is that a very convoluted way of saying yes?
It might be.
Excellent. I will clear some time. I see talent in you, Little Miss. He will say as he walks over and pets Mixie behind the ears. One day I think you will do great things.
Mixie purrs as she is petted.
Yeah, no. Thank you.
And I think unless Adam really wants to jump in, I think we kind of come to a natural stopping point.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great place to call it.
Okay, cool. Thank you, players for players. Thank you, players for players. That's my turn of phrase, and I'm sticking with it. And thank you, watchers, for watching. Yep, this has been another scene in Northeast Kansas. Good night, everybody.